Hi everyone, it's Diana.
And I'm Nick.
And it's actually Tuesday today with Team RCIA. So,
So,
so you go.
what we thought we'd talk about today is clarifying what we mean when we say year-round RCIA or ongoing RCIA. There's a lot of you probably hear this a lot that dioceses and folks like us ask our parishes to provide an ongoing initiation process, ongoing evangelization initiation process in our parishes. And sometimes teams freak out a little bit because that causes us to feel like we've got to do a lot more work. And the kinds of pushback that we get when we start to promote that idea is, folks say, well, we just can't because we have limited resources. Or they'll say stuff like, the whole world is organized around a school year calendar, and so that's what we're going to do too.
Yeah, and or things like our team is too small. Or
Yeah.
we don't have enough people to do all of the things. We need a bigger team. And you've all heard it. Your parish is the RCIA team. You're like, yeah, okay, yes, we understand. We get that. But really, what does that look like if we can't get people to help do the RCIA? Well, it really is a lot easier than we might think, because if we shift our focus on RCIA as a teaching process, as a catechetical process, where we have to prepare lessons and workshops and sessions and reframe it to what it actually is, which is a liturgical ritual process in which we encounter Christ, then it gets a lot easier.
Yeah, and also we need to kind of reorient our paradigm a little bit and not think of a year-round ongoing catechumenate as some kind of ideal that only perfect parishes with lots and lots of resources can reach. Every, all of us, no matter what the size of our parishes or what the size of our teams or what resources we have or don't have, are called to evangelize and initiate every day. It's not an ideal. It is the Christian vocation.
It's not a program, it is what you do if you are Christian. It's the basic way of living. And so think of it, goodness, think of it as living in a household with another person. The kinds of things that you do together to make that household run, that is simply what you do as people in a relationship living together. It's not like, okay, today we're going to start working together on this project. It's just how we
Yeah.
exist together.
And would it be better if we had a bigger house or a second car or more money or all that stuff? If the plumbing worked better, all of that stuff. Yes, it could be better, but nevertheless, we do family no matter what our resources are. We have, even single people
Yes.
are part of a family in some way. So that's always I guess when we apply that to the Christian family, when a seeker wants to become part of our family, we don't say, well, we only take new family members in September.
And you have to go through a 6-week process to
Yeah,
learn how to be part of the family
yeah,
before you can actually be part of the family.
yeah.
It just doesn't work that way. So we have to start thinking of our parish communities as the Christian family, and those who are seeking initiation into Christ are incorporated right away into that Christian family, and that is how they learn to become members of that Christian family. And the primary thing that the Christian family does is we give praise to God through Christ in the liturgy.
And because that's what we primarily do as Christians, the Directory for Catechesis tells us that the privileged place of catechesis for the people of God is the liturgy, primarily the Sunday liturgy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because
Now,
we're liturgists.
yeah, but sometimes I hear catechists say, "Oh, that means then we should do more teaching masses, or we should do those 3-minute catechesis things after communion." And that's not what it means. It's not what it means. It means that At the end of the liturgy, when the priest or deacon says, "Go forth to glorify God with your lives," at the dismissal, we're given several tasks to do. That dismissal, it's a beautiful poetic statement, but it's also a job description.
Mm-hmm. And so I just want to go back to the Directory for Catechesis a little bit, where it says that the liturgy is catechetical. And it goes on, and we should have had the paragraph number, but it goes on to say this does not mean exactly what you just said. Do teaching masses, or stop and explain what this is, or let's do a 4-minute lecture on a teaching of the church after communion. That is absolutely not what the church is saying about liturgy as catechetical. It's what we are doing within the liturgical action, the ritual action itself, is like the exercise. It's our rehearsal for how we are going to live our life out in the world. And the very specific things we do outside of the liturgy are the very things that shape us to give right praise to God. And in that giving right praise to God, that shapes us to live rightly out in the world.
So some characteristics of living rightly include constantly proclaiming the kerygma, constantly teaching in the way Jesus taught about God's saving love, constantly extending God's mercy, constantly offering praise and worship to God, even outside the liturgy. We glorify God by our lives. Constantly going out to the peripheries. Pope Francis reminds us all the time we have to go out to the peripheries. And constantly apprenticing seekers in the life of Christian discipline. So all of these things are, like Diana said, they're things that we rehearse in the liturgy itself, so that we can go out and do them in our daily lives out in the world.
And the way we do those things in our daily lives is not by doing another lecture, not by putting together a PowerPoint or some presentation.
Well, you can't. How would you do a PowerPoint on going out to the peripheries? You have to actually go.
You go out to the peripheries. You don't proclaim the kerygma by explaining what the kerygma is. You proclaim the first proclamation by your action and by the words that you use with those who are in need of God's good news.
So when you have a conversation with a homeless person, or you let the person in line at Starbucks go ahead of you, or you make sure to pay extra special attention to one of your children who isn't feeling so hot about himself right now. When you do any of those kinds of things, the world notices. The world sees that you're a little different, and you've had this experience because you are different. So you can't have, if you're really living as a Catholic out in the world, you can't be invisible. You're going to stick out. And that's catechetical. That teaches people who Jesus is.
Absolutely. And so that challenges us to rethink what we tell seekers who come to us outside of the normal, our paradigm of 9-month RCIA, where there's a start date to the RCIA and an end date to the RCIA. That challenges us to rethink what is RCIA. It's not that classroom, it's not that lecture, it's how we are living our life, especially for those most in need. It's how we are living our life, especially outside of what we do at the parish. How are we living our Christian disciplines out in the world? And that shapes a seeker just as much, even more, than any kind of syllabus or lecture series will.
So when you hear that and you're thinking, well, I've just got, I'm the RCIA team, or it's me and my two best friends of the RCIA team, and we just can't do one more thing. We can't. There's no way that we could do this all year long. We got to understand that nowhere in the RCIA text does it talk about an RCIA team. Nowhere does it talk about weekly classes. It doesn't ask us, nowhere asks us to run an RCIA program. what it calls us to do is live a sacramental life. That's a call we got at baptism. That's not new with the RCIA. We're called to live a sacramental life or an apostolic life. And so, because the whole parish is responsible for living like Jesus did, the parish is the RCIA program.
And so, yeah, let me put this link to this article that Nick wrote, because in the article he gives a whole list that comes from the Catechism,
Yep.
which I think is this the penitential lifestyle
Yeah.
section?
Yes.
And so we're in the middle of Easter. And so what are we doing thinking of penance in the middle of Easter? That was Lent, right? But actually, the entire Christian life, we are called to live daily a penitential lifestyle. It doesn't mean, oh, woe is me kind of thing. I'm so sinful. It means, how do we sacrifice ourselves as a reminder that everything we have belongs to God, and therefore we always are constantly turning toward God in every moment of our lives. And so in the Catechism of the Catholic Church, it gives us really basic ways to live a daily penitential way of life. And this is exactly what we can do to make our RCIA year round. Really, it's every minute of the day we are doing RCIA when we do these simple things. You want to say some of those things here?
Yeah, so it's things like make gestures of reconciliation and show concern for the poor, exercise and defend justice and right, to examine our conscience, to accept suffering with gladness, to endure persecution for the sake of righteousness. So all these things, again, are just really how we live as Catholics. And when we live that way in the world, it causes reaction. It causes questions. It causes people to notice.
And again, it always goes back to the liturgy. The way we learn to do those things is in the prayer and worship of the church, where we have to rub up against people who are totally different than we are, people who sometimes we might think of them as distractions to our prayer, when in fact they are God in disguise, calling us to even deeper prayer and penance in our way of life. So
what I'm supposed to do then, if I'm a 1 or 2 or 3 person RCI team, is I kind of act like a matchmaker or a coach or maybe a cheerleader. So what I do is I look at all those penitential ways or gospel ways of living, showing concern for the poor, or examining conscience, or seeking spiritual direction, and so on. And I look at who in our parish is really good at doing some of those things. And then I take a seeker and I kind of matchmake them with that part of the parish where that part of our Christian life is really being lived out well, so that the seeker can learn by example how to live this Christian way of life.
you're basically saying, come and see,
Yeah.
come and see how this person lives the Christian way of life, and imitate and
Yep.
use them as an example.
Yep. So you don't need more team members really to do that.
You just need to live the Christian way of life really out loud all the time. And you can do that on your own. You don't need anyone else's permission. You don't need Father's permission to do that. You can do that right now, and you will be catechizing by your life.
Now we're going to be talking a lot more about how to implement an ongoing catechetical process in our parishes, and that event is only going to be open to members of Team RCI. However, you can become a member really easily. Diana's going to put the link in here.
Is it this one?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is going to happen, remind me, Diana, May.
Let's look on the big board. May 12th.
May 12 at 11 o'clock Pacific time. And we're going to spend about an hour doing this online training. And like I said, it's only going to be open to members, but you can become a member for as little as $24 a month. So go to that link that Diana put in there and check it out. And we hope that you can come join us for this training. Now, you're going to get access to that training. You'll get access to the training we did last month. You're going to get access to all the trainings that we've done in the history of RCIA, which is, I don't know,
the history of RCIA.
Dozens.
The history of Team RCIA.
Dozens and dozens of these 1-hour master classes. We've got 2 master courses online and 5 mini courses. We have a range of podcasts.
It is a plethora.
Yeah, there are the video marathons. I think we have 7 or 8 video marathons we've done. We're going to do another. We're launching a brand new video marathon this summer in July. As a member, you have access to all that stuff. So we really want you to think about this and encourage you to join. And we hope, we tried to set it up in such a way that you're going to get way more benefit out of it than you ever imagined. But you also help us out when you become a member, because we have to have resources in order to be able to continue doing this ministry. So that's why we created the membership program, so we can have like a partnership where you provide us with a little bit of support, and we provide you with as much amazing support as we can imagine and we can develop between the two of us.
So you can be a member for as short as 1 month if you want. If that's all you can do, you just want to test it out, try it out, just go ahead and sign up. And you can extend that membership to a second month if you want, to whatever it is that works best for you. And as always, if you're unhappy with anything, you get your money back. You just let us know. And because we're not here to take your money. We absolutely don't want to do that. We're here to give you resources that will help you do the ministry that God has called you to do, and to do that as best you can. So.
And we know that not all of us are in a position to be able to support the things we love financially. And so in that case, we'd ask you to support us with your prayer and your emails and your comments on our blog posts. And take advantage of the lots and lots of free resources we have on our website. If you go to teamrcia.com, there's a navigation menu that says resources, and under that is both the blog posts and a bunch of free videos like this one that are all available to you. And as part of this video, we're going to give you a free resource, a free handout that is a description of 6 amazing things that our seekers need to know. So you can download that, you can read that for yourself, or hand it out to your team, or even put it in your parish bulletin if you think that'd be helpful.
Yes. So yes, this is our spring membership drive. We have just a few more weeks going on this, and then
it's going to conclude with that webinar on the
May
12th.
May 12th. So a couple more weeks of us talking to you about becoming a member, but hopefully the other things that we talk about and share with you give you some insight and some immediate help to help you do your catechumenate ministry in your community. So.
All right. Well, I think that's about all we have to say, all the time we have today. But we're going to be back here on Thursday. Is that right? We're going to try. We're going to try to be here Thursday.
I think it's Thursday. Yeah. I got to look at the calendar.
You should see our calendar.
It's crazy. But
you'd think for quarantine people we'd have a little less of a calendar.
But I get my second dose on Thursday afternoon. Right. So it'll be fun. It'll be excellent.
All right, everyone. God bless. Thanks for spending this time with us. Thanks for all the work you do.
Thanks.